Hi, I'm E.D. Lewis, and welcome back to Nocturnal Reviews, and happy Gothic Hearts. Today, I'll be talking about a movie, which occasionally I do. Usually they're connected to, book-related, but this one is not, however. So, this is one I have been wanting to rewatch for Gothic Hearts for a couple of years. Last year, I completely forgot about it, and so this year, I had it on my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it this year. We're finally going to talk about this movie. So it's a bit of Valoween, not just Gothic Hearts. So this movie would be perfect to watch at this time of the year, or, later this week, particularly. And that is 1942's Cat People, produced by Valoween. So this one is, this should have been a book in my opinion. I think this would have made a fantastic book. They should have done a novelization. I know they were not really the thing back then, though the first novelization had actually already been done, at least during the silent era. So it wouldn't have been brand new, but they weren't common, and it's a shame because this would have been perfect to have a novelization. Even a modern novelization would be great, as long as it took place during the time period and also was faithful to the time and everything. Not a modernized piece. So this movie stars Simone Simon in the role of Irena. Sorry. She is a fashion designer, a sketch artist for fashion design, that is, and she meets Oliver Reed one day when she's at the zoo sketching a panther. They hit it off. She takes him back to her apartment. They talk and stuff. He learns a little bit about her, her background, that she's from Serbia. He learns about a particular statue that he sees in her apartment in her brownstone of King John with a cat on a sword. And she tells of the history of her village and the legend of King George. So, like I said, they hit it off. They decide they want to get married. Things are off to a happy start until after a reception at a Serbian restaurant. Irena is greeted by a woman who very much looks very cat-like, with a greeting from her native language, calling her sister. Irena is completely unnerved by that, already feeling anxieties about potentially being descended of the fabled cat people of her village, whom she has spoken to Oliver about, and Oliver sees as merely a silly legend. More and more, Irena feels herself distant from her husband and fearful. She is unable to commit to married life and becomes very distant from Oliver. Oliver seeks solace in his best friend, Alice, and Alice suggests that Irena seek psychiatric help. But more and more strange things begin to happen, and Irena's fears may not altogether be in her mind. I wasn't honestly sure how I was going to talk about this movie, give a quick synopsis, but there we have it. The strange things start happening even before they get married. The day that she's actually, when they meet, she's actually going through several sketches. They keep on being wrong. She tears them off her sketchbook, and we see the last one that she drops on the ground before they walk off to her brownstone, and it is of a panther with a sword driven through it. Very reminiscent, of course, of, the statue of the cat on King George's sword, and some foreshadowing, of course. But other strange things, start to happen. Oliver ends up getting her this adorable little Siamese kitten that doesn't take to her very well. She said she has trouble with cats. So they go to a pet store to exchange the cat, and the animals they go wild. And as soon as Raina goes outside, they all calm down, and Oliver gets her instead this little canary that she is certain everything will go right with. So as the film goes on, Irena goes through quite a depressive mood, and then as her marriage starts to hit some rocky spots and starts to go south, she starts to become rather self-assured, and the film takes on kind of a fear of female power as well as female sexuality. Inferring that at times when she becomes aroused, she becomes this cat person, this cat creature. We'll be right back after these messages. Do you enjoy poetry of the spooky or dark variety? If you do, tune in to this month's PAX Poetry and help us to honor the memory of our dear departed friend, Pax Panic. Every month here on Nocturnal Reviews, I'll be selecting a booktuber or an author for Spotlight, and this month I've selected Joseph Hood, the author of My Friend Nick, The Bride of Warren, and Dead Around Midnight. Please check out all his books and enjoy. I was introduced to this film when I was in college during an independent study class on gender and sexuality in the horror film. This was one of the few films that my instructor had suggested we watch. Every week there was a movie and there was some reading. And the main text we used for this class was Ben Schaaf's book, Monsters in the Closet, which is an excellent academic text. I've reviewed it before some years now ago. But I highly recommend it. There needs to be an updated one because it ends about the 90s, and it's a shame that it's not been, added to. But we also looked at an article that was in the book The Dread of Difference, which is another great book. It has several articles focusing on different horror films and talking about gender in horror. And that one talks about the remake as well as this film, which I've not seen the remake. I haven't even seen the sequel, and I'm not too overly interested in watching the sequel because from what I understand, it really doesn't have too much to do with the first film. It has some of the characters in it, but all in all, it's not a horror film per se. And so our main focus while studying this film was very much the sexuality of the characters and applying queer theory to the narrative, which I think works very well, especially every time that her main focus of the attacks are on the character of Alice. And it seems, and since every time she becomes this cat creature, it seems to be a reaction to arousal, it's always centered around that character. Of course, you can also just see this film as very much a fear of female sexuality in general, no matter, what the, orientation or preference is. But all in all, if you don't want to delve into what this movie is about, it's a great atmospheric Gothic film. It's a shame this wasn't a book. Whether if it was a novelization or a book that the film would have been based on, it's really good. There is one thing that I don't exactly buy with this film, and it's the romance between Oliver and Alice. Alice, just to me, she comes off very much as just his gal pal. There's no romantic chemistry between these characters at all. They just seem more like platonic friends, though she claims to be in love with him and stuff, and it seems to imply that they're gonna, spoiler alerts, that they're gonna end up together. I just don't buy it. It's kind of like, for me, with the Wolfman from... Wasn't the Wolfman around the same time? I think it was in the early 40s. I don't remember if it was 41 or 42. I don't buy the romance between Gwen and Larry in that film either. Of course, Larry is attracted to her and he keeps vying for her. She's already engaged and she keeps, putting him off, I don't buy that she's in love with him. That I only see it as she cares about him, she loves him as a friend, and she wants to help him. So it's kind of that same thing. I don't buy the romance between these characters. But yeah, all in all, this one, fits perfect, I think, for, I forget which, is it Activity 3, I think? Hold on. I think it's Activity 3. Activity 3, A Love That Should Not Be. Watch a Gothic romance film where love defies reason, society, or morality. Examples: ghost lovers, doomed couples, forbidden bonds. Very much doomed couples because of, Irena and Oliver. Which I think they make a cute couple. It's just unfortunate how things go about. So, but anyway, I really enjoy this movie. It's a 5-star or 5 skull for me. I don't usually rate movies unless they're more literary related, but I had to talk about this film. I wanted to talk about it for a while, and this finally gave me the chance. This one's, almost called it a book. This one, has other things you could deeply talk about, especially from a psychological point of view. And there is the psychiatrist that she sees. He puts her under hypnosis and stuff, and he examines even the one of the underlying themes of evil and sin that runs through this film. Because you could even talk about religion, because there's a religious undertone that runs through this, which also accentuates the Gothic feel of this film. And also, this movie has an early example of a very well planned out jump scare before jump scares were really a thing, and before they were way overdone and it had become so cliche. This film demonstrates it perfectly, and definitely check out the film if you are able to. I know there's a Criterion Collection edition out there. I have an older release, which is part of a Valoween set. It has 2 discs on it. It has Cat People, Curse of the Cat People on one disc. The second disc has The Body Snatcher and I Walked with a Zombie, which I've seen all the movies in this set except for Curse of the Cat People. So, if you have not seen Cat People, please check it out. It's definitely a classic. It's RKO. It's part of their very Gothic run. Their films are more psychological than Universal's Gothic films that were more explicit. So, do check it out. Until next time, stay safe, stay spooky, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.